Hi, everybody. This is Beth. I'm so excited to welcome John Gaber, entrepreneur with multiple businesses. Hi, John. How are you?
Fantastic. Another great day in Florida.
Right. It's beautiful. Listen, I'm really grateful you're here. We met literally yesterday through the whole TikTok situation, and I thought how awesome it'd be to have you here and talk to us a little bit about business and your businesses and your entrepreneurial skills and your marketing experiences. So would you take a little bit of a minute and tell our audience a little bit about yourself, more specifically about your businesses?
Yes, easily. Way done. Start back when I have ate one meal a day. I've struggled not to commit suicide. I've been the most negative, pessimistic person in this world at 18 years old. I've ate out of trash cans, but I was a bougie trash can eater. Let's not get this wrong. If it was like a Subway sandwich and I saw somebody at work put it back in the sandwich and put it on top of the trash can, I would go get it. So I'd call myself bougie there. But I've been pacing back and forth, battling, crying with a handful of pills, bottle full of alcohol, ready to commit suicide. Many times. I'm not ashamed to say that because that is a fear and an uncomfortableness that I never want to experience again. So my saying, I changed my mindset and I changed my life. I did not change my life with money. I changed my life with my mindset. And so I didn't have a day off. I was spent 8 years in the Air Force and Air National Guard, traveled the world. I worked at the Goodyear Tire Rubber Manufacturing Company as maintenance out there. I worked 80 to 110 hours every week for a little over 12 years, built up my businesses on the side. I opened up a gym. After 6 years, it wasn't my happiness or passion anymore. I closed it down 1 month after I realized it wasn't my happiness. But in the other time, I built up Need Fitness LLC, where I do consulting and injury prevention for Fortune 500 companies to reduce their worker compensation costs. I have C9LYFE, which is my brand. It's the letter C, number 9, LYFE, stands for Cloud 9 Life. LYFE is live, you, forget everything. That is how you get to your version of a Cloud 9 life. And that's where I do inspirational, motivational speaking. And I have GPG, Gaber Property Group, where I buy and invest in commercial land and real estate. Because I have done residential, and I'm not a huge fan of it. Maybe I'll get into it down the road. But we'll see. Because I do what makes me happy and what I enjoy. I don't let anybody else convince me of a passion that I should have. I follow my heart and I live for me and what makes me tick and makes me happy. And that is how I find I acquire success.
So you're so busy, and obviously to you, the keys to success is finding your passion, your why. I think that's so important, and I'm glad you brought that up. It's been kind of consistent theme with us. How do you find your why? And again, the why, the passion changes. I think some people think it's supposed to be just one thing, and they try to spend their whole life trying to find it. But I believe it changes as we progress. Well, what do you think?
My gym is the perfect aspect for that. I got banned. This just shows how an entrepreneur is. If you're not an entrepreneur, like deep at heart, if you are okay with somebody telling you, hey, this is when you can take a vacation. This is, and you can't have the time off. You need to do this. You have to do that. If that doesn't absolutely boil your blood, then work for somebody, because being an entrepreneur is hard. If you don't have the heart. So I got banned from a big commercial gym in my hometown in Kansas. And I went for 1 month trying to find another gym that I wanted to work out with, and I couldn't find one. 3 months later, I opened up the doors to my own gym. I have a high school diploma. That's it. My dad was always, if you needed something, he's like, make it. So I did. I always listen. You got to listen and pay attention. I'm always chatting. I'm always running my mouth. But you got to consume and take in. All you hear, you can literally go to a mall and sit at a food court and probably find in an hour 10 inventions or ways to make businesses better.
Yeah.
By listening to what people complain about. Find a solution or a problem in the world and create a solution. The bigger problem you solve, more money you make. You got to make sure it's something that's your happiness and what you enjoy doing. So my gym, it was 6 years. I loved it and this and that. And then and I'm self-auditing all the time. And then it got brought to my attention. They were like, you don't seem very happy doing this. This was in August. And I was like, I sat and I thought about it for a week. I sold everything, closed the doors on October 1st, right at the end of the quarter. Because it wasn't my happiness. And if it's not your happiness, I'm not going to do it. You have one life. Like, you're going to die. Why are you doing anything in life that does not make you happy?
You're so right. So right. Well, listen, let's talk a little bit about, obviously starting a business is hard, but it's not really as hard as people think. If knowing everything you know now, if you had to start all over again, what would the process look like for starting your business?
Go and grow. That is the method that I have, and I try to teach everybody. I'm going to be making a limited amount of shirts for it. All the entrepreneurs that get in my inbox and hit me up, the main thing I'll tell everybody is go and grow. It means go. Just do it and grow along the process. Because, dear Lord, what you're going to try to do, you're going to try to make every little thing perfect. And majority of things you care about and makes things perfect, the people aren't going to care about. And you're going to waste time and money and energy and effort. What you need to do is just go and get it out there. Because no matter what, you're going to have to navigate how your customers and everybody that you want to consume your stuff, how they're going to act or react to it. So you're always got to be reacting and coming and going. So you might as well save that money and that time and that energy in the beginning and just go. You have to just go in life and then just grow along with it. Yes, do your research and your due diligence, but you can only do so much. It's like the saying of adulthood is looking both ways before you cross the street and you get hit by an airplane. That's business. The biggest things that I ran into my business were all of the things that I did not think about. And I put in a lot of research on everything. And you come down to it and you're like, I never even thought about that. Mm-hmm. And all of this, and then these problems that I spent months like trying to navigate and like just take care of before I even opened the business never happened.
That's true.
You are creating your own, you create your own roof in life. You create your own hindrance. It's you. You can't know or understand or how everybody's going to react or, you got to take everything as they come because you're coming from your point of view. But as we all know in life, everybody is different. Right. So everything, your business it's this all the time. All it is. It's up and down. It's navigating. It's figuring it out. It's going with the flow. But you have to just go.
Just start somewhere. Absolutely agree with you. What great advice. Listen, I think people have a lot of fear of failure more specifically. Would you say you had a big fear starting your business that you had to overcome?
I wouldn't say it's a fear of failure. It's a fear of judgment.
Oh, that's good.
That is what I always fear it is. People just give too much of a shit what everybody else thinks.
Okay.
You know how much hate and flack that I got from people when I closed my gym down? The number one thing that was said, he couldn't make it. His business failed or this and that. And I'm like, do you think after 6 years, I'd had it for 6 years if it failed? No. I was like, that was my thing. But what do I do to put it all out there and everything? Nothing. Who cares? Let people chirp and chirp and chirp and chirp. It's just like birds. You hear them all the time. But the problem is you listen to it. You gotta fail your way to success. That's what I always tell. You're gonna have a lot of micro failures along the way. I've done so many like little losses along the way, but it's trial and error. Yeah. You're never gonna know unless you try. Trying is the only thing that matters in life. I will not go to my deathbed with one thing in this life that I wanted to try that I never did. Period. If I ever wanted to try it or experience it or do it, I will. What are you going to do at that point? Nothing. It's regret. You have the opportunity. You're just scared something's going to go wrong. But here's the problem is too many of you live in what if land. The problem is you guys live in the negative what if land. What if it goes wrong? What if nobody buys my stuff? What if I'm not good enough? What about this and that? So you can play in what if land because you need to. But you got to play in the neutral land. Because if you go all the way positive, what if everything goes right? What if it is a massive hit? What if I become so rich that I don't ever have to work again? What if everything is the best decision and gives me the best like I've ever had? Problem is, you can't be way over here and you can't be way over here, because this is unrealistic and this might be too pessimistic. So you have to just play in the middle. You have to have your balance of both. But we all default to negative, and that is the problem. Being an entrepreneur is questioning everything.
Yeah.
You got to question every single thing that comes your way. Why is this business not working? What is this, happening? Or what is going on? What is wrong here? What most of y'all blame the customers. Well, they don't care. This, blah, blah, blah. Making excuses and that. Maybe it's you. Maybe your marketing sucks. Maybe your product sucks. Maybe this and that. You have to be able to willing to take those punches in the jaw as they come. And if you don't, you're going to lose. Because here's my thing. Winners win. And the way winners win is they're willing to take all of the information in and just react to it, whether it is on them or not. Most of the time, it's just the entrepreneur's like, this is my problem. This is actually my fault. Because the consumers are going to buy whatever they want to buy. You're just not doing a good enough job to do that. And if you're so worried about, if you're going to be able to make it or do this and that, then you're probably not going to make it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to give up. It's too easy.
You have to pivot. And that's a good point, though, because I think a lot of times, even people that work on their mindset don't realize on the spot how we always revert back to the negative first, which is
it's easiest.
It's easiest.
Positivity is hard.
Yeah, you're right.
If I tell you, all you have to do to change your life is be positive in every single day in every way.
So
that's it. All you have to do is think positively. That's all you have to do. It's so easy, but it's the hardest thing to actually implement. It's the easiest, hardest thing to do. It is a daily thing. It's a daily work. It's daily. Just like as I work out 2 times a day, I'm always working on that because I'm auditing myself. If I'm starting like, man, my sales aren't doing very good on here, this and that. Man, it's because of COVID or this and that. There's money being made all around because of COVID.
That's true.
There's so many businesses getting started for online stuff and all this and that and everything. No, you need to say, look at all the opportunities and everything that's going on right now. I just need to, like me, my tattoo on my hand is prevail above all, which to me, it means triumph over everything that you do. But the problem is you all think it's just there and this is going to be how you get there. It's always going to change and adapt. And if you, like you said, pivot, if you're not constantly pivoting and adapting and overcoming, like when I was in the military, adapt and overcome.
Right.
It's the same in business. Are you just going to roll over and let it die because of COVID or this and that? Or are you going to change like all these businesses that have started like changing and doing different stuff and they're succeeding? The ones that have failed haven't adapted.
That's true. So you mentioned at the beginning of this, you had a bit of an interesting situation. How did you change your mindset to go from that negative, depressed, suicidal mode to this happy, energetic businessman? How did that shift happen?
It's because I learned that it's okay when I do motivational speaking and everything, not everybody's going to like me. Because it was a YouTube video and I cannot remember what it was I can't remember anything about it, but I always remember how it was. And it was telling me that, the motivational, like if you're depressed and want to commit suicide, it's like, hey, everything's amazing. You're great. Like life's going to turn around and do this and that. That does zero for me. Nothing. It was a video that I watched. It was like, maybe you need to. Maybe it's you're selfish and you're going to put that burden on your family and your friends and this and that. You're not good enough to have this life and do that. And that to me was like, right. You're right. Like I'm gonna be so selfish that I'm gonna put all of this pain and everything and disperse it through everybody else because I'm not tough enough. No, ain't gonna happen. But also I'm the type of person, you push me in a corner, I'm gonna come out swinging. I'm gonna crash, scratch, claw, fight, do whatever I gotta do to get out of it. But it was here. I always try to use this analogy of like my stove. It's glass top. If I put my hand on it and turn the burner on, I will be able to stay there for a certain amount of period of time until it becomes too unbearable for me.
Right.
So the problem is is what most people do is like, ooh, they just take it off when they're uncomfortable in situations. And then they grab a crutch. So they go grab an oven mitt and then they put their hand right back on it. But it's not going to like burn you, but it's always going to be that uncomfortable hot. And that's where most people always sit. They're just going to use these little crutches in life just to keep going on and be like, it's more of excuses and just justification. No, I'm happy. You will never have to tell somebody you're happy. People will be able to see it when you're truly happy. If you're telling me you're happy, like, I'm happy, I'm really doing amazing in life. No, you're not. Are you trying to convince me or are you trying to convince yourself? Because for me, I'm going to completely remove myself from that situation. It was like my gym. It did not make me happy. For me, wanting to commit suicide and feel that way, I did not want to not know where my next meal was coming from. I did not want to be babbling, crying weeks and just, wanting to kill myself. I didn't want to be there anymore. I was tired of it. And I was like, my parents offered to like go get me groceries once a week or do this and that. But I know myself and I knew myself good enough to say, if I do that, that will be a crutch that somebody could either hold over my head. And my parents would never do that. They're not that type of people. But also be that crutch of like create like a little dependency. Somebody will bail me out. So I said no. And that's when ish got really hard. Because I was like, man, maybe I should have and everything. But I knew if I did that on my own, I would become my biggest rock, my own support, my own foundation. And I won't ever have to need anybody because guess what? The people that are taking care of you, at some point, they're not going to be around. And usually that happens when people are 50 and 60 years old. And then they got to start their whole life over and learn as like a 20-year-old would. You're creating that crutch, but you're actually, all you're doing is pushing things down the road instead of when you should be really enjoying life. Now you got to restart over and refigure out everything else.
Right.
You got to put everything into your hands.
And good point on the happiness. I heard a great quote this morning. I love Ed Milet. But he mentioned about how happiness is really relative and it changes. Fulfillment is where it's at. And people, in order to truly be joyful, they need to focus on finding that fulfillment because happiness comes and goes. Not every day is a happy day, no matter how much you try. So
fulfillment and purpose.
All right. Exactly.
Fulfillment and purpose. That is it. Because you got to know yourself enough to what gets you out of there. My purpose is making people happier and living like the life that I'm living. The reason I don't like sleep is because my reality is better than my dreams.
Right.
That is my ultimate. I'm like, I feel guilty for having so much happiness and so much like just living my dream. I want everybody else to experience it too. To me, is spending 4 hours on my social media, responding to people, changing and impacting people's lives. The first time you get a first message I ever got when I started doing my speaking and everything was, John, I was actually on my way to the bedroom to grab the gun and kill myself. And her husband was watching one of my vlogs or one of my Win-Win Wednesdays. It was God intervened at the right time. She stood at the edge of the doorway and she just listened to my video, whatever I was talking about, just listened. And it made her not do it. And she had to send me that message. It's just crazy how everything, happens in life. And you never know, but you got to keep trucking on. I mean, that one message makes all of the stress and money and everything that it cost me to do this for the rest of my life, period. Saved one person's life.
That's amazing. I love that. Thank you for sharing that story. That's pretty powerful. So I want to talk a little bit about what success means to you.
Ooh, success. What we just talked about, happiness. Nothing over anything. Happiness is success. And here is my quick story. I was making hundreds of thousands a year, probably 300 grand a year. And there was a guy that I was at Goodyear at the manufacturing facility. He was a janitor. This dude had to work until he died because his ex-wife and money and how she took all this stuff from him. This guy was making, $32,000 a year. And that was after he got like a pay raise and everything. This dude was the most supportive, happiest, best person I've ever met in this world. I mean, oh, just the best guy. He would always, like, I was going through tough, hard times, and my tough, hard times are what he would dream of having.
Okay.
And this guy is like sincere, like, John, you're amazing. Things are going to happen in your life. They're going to go great just because my life didn't go great. And this dude was so selfless. But here's my thing. I was like, man, why don't you go, like, get a better job here? I'll help you go get something else. He was like, John, I'm happy. He was like, he was making like $16,000 a year up until like the last year where he was making 32. He had what, $18,000 in the bank. He said all he needs is food for his family and a roof over the head.
Wow.
That's it. He was like, I don't need anything else in life. And the thing is, like, you can just see when somebody is so genuine about it. And this dude, I was like, I have so many vehicles and toys and all this and that. And it was like a punch to my gut. Like, this dude makes a fraction of what I do, has a fraction of what I do. And this dude has happiness that I can't even touch.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even see.
Yeah.
And that's when I started changing my mindset yet again. It's like you always say, it's always that adapting and that pivoting. Yes, I didn't just change my mindset that one time. I've changed my mindset 72 times a year.
Yeah.
Because somebody comes along or something happens and I'm like, oh, I got linked up with a billionaire since I've been down here. That was another pivot in my life. And I was like, wow, I thought I was doing good and had a great mind stuff on stuff. And I was like, I felt like a little kid sucking on his thumb talking to him. I'm like, wow. But it's just taking it. I want to be the least successful and the least motivated in a room of people that I'm around. An entrepreneur is somebody that instead of rather being at the top of the hill, they always want to be on that mountainside climbing. Yeah. That climbing, that scratching, that going. Like, that's what drives us. It's not the destination, it's the process.
That's 100% true. And if I'm the smartest person in the room, I don't belong in that room.
It's time to go. It's time to change. And if those people don't want to evolve and grow with you, then you got to cut. I always keep scissors in my pocket. I'm always willing to cut people off, and just keep growing because I'm not going to hinder myself from anybody in life. And if you want to think that I've had people say I'm too good for you, or like he's just too good for us and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm just continually growing in life because that's what life is about. Continually growing. But every time you climb that ladder and go to the next level, that next level is going to be harder. Yeah. And some people just can't make that climb anymore. And that's fine because nobody is ever any better than one another. People just have different paths in life. We're all the same.
Give me a golden nugget here. 3 keys to success. Go.
Hey, PPC. Patience, persistence, consistency. Patience, because it's not going to happen quick. That is for sure. It's going to take 10 times longer than you thought it was going to. Yeah. If not longer. Okay. Persistence is you're going to want to give up. You're going to want to, you're going to be tired of walking in the rain and the thunder and the storm and the winds and everything. You got that persistence. You got to keep going. You have to be tougher than the obstacles that are going to come along your way because every single person and business owner and everybody in this world is going to have those problems. It's just whether you give up or not. It's just if you give up, you're not going to reach your success. And then consistency is doing it every single day and working towards your goals and your dreams. What are we doing? We're on a Sunday. I've already had 2 other phone calls or very important meetings today on a Sunday. And I love it. I hate Fridays. Because that's when you can't do business. Yeah. 5 o'clock on Fridays, I hate them. They suck. But that's when I use the weekends then to network. So I'm still doing business, and stuff along the way because you can constantly grow. So this is the way I look at a week. So a week, you work 3 quarters, enjoy a quarter. You know what that is also like? Your life and retirement. You work 3 quarters, enjoy a quarter. When you think about that, doesn't it sound like crap?
Yeah.
I want to work. So what I think of is the more you're here's your retirement. And if you're working 5 days, you're going here. But if you start working 7 days, your retirement starts coming closer to you. And it doesn't just come 2 days for every 2 days that you come in. Those 2 days might put it a month sooner because it compounds. and it continually grows. I was able to retire at 29 because all I did and everything, but I was willing to give up everything social and like fun and partying and doing all this and that. I have so many messages I wish I had on old phones of you're wasting your life, you're just working your life away, you're not having any fun, you're not doing anything. So now where I'm at in my early 30s, and I got a second place in Miami and people are living vicariously through me, I'm like, hey, well, guys, come down here for a vacation. We'll go out in the ocean for like a week or something like that. And they're like, well, John, I can't do that because I have work. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? Aren't you, you're not living. Why are you working? Like, what? Like, oh, isn't that what you told me?
Back then. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what you told me then, but you want to have all your fun now. So I get to live my life completely opposite. What are you going to do? Enjoy your life when you're in your 70s and your body, as we know, as we get older, guess what? Your body doesn't like working as good every single year. So I'm doing cardio twice a day when 24, 25, like I just eat whatever I want and I'm good. I get one cheat meal a week and everything else. But it just comes down to, if you don't have that patience, persistence, and that consistency, you're not going to succeed. Because, and as we talked about earlier, TikTok. You never know what is going to be the driving factor or the train that is going to take you somewhere. I've grown probably 100,000 followers in TikTok in what, 5 weeks, 6 weeks roughly.
Crazy.
Insane. But here's my thing. Yes, it's where's attention at? Here's where attention is. And then you start siphoning, some of that over. So yes, I've grown my Instagram, by thousands, but all it is just diversifying, going. Everybody's like, what happens when TikTok goes away? TikTok goes away is because the attention going somewhere else. So I just follow that attention, grab some of that, and then constantly keep putting it in. But here's my thing. My Instagram hasn't grown very well over the past, 3 years, because I never posted on it.
Right.
But guess what? Can I be mad that my Instagram is not very impressive when you look at numbers or like how amount of followers? No. Whose fault is that? Mine, because I wasn't consistent. I wasn't getting the amount of likes and engagement that I wanted, so I wasn't persistent and I just gave up. I do it as well. We all do it. Why does everybody think they're so different and they're going to lose and everything else? They're not. Everybody goes through it. It's just you have to be able to understand and be like, you caused the problem. You caused the result. Your results and your success is predicated on the amount of effort that you put in.
I love that. I love that. So listen, we're going to wrap this up with something fun. Give us an example of your morning routine that helps you stay in that higher vibe throughout the day.
Work out, first thing. It's pretty much, I get myself going. I'll go through and I'll just of course, go through my phone. I got to see if there's fires that I need to put out or what's, if there's an emergency or websites down or something like that. Of course, you got to check that and everything. But I try to spend that time and maybe just listen to some music. If I'm hungry, I might have to eat. If not, I'm just going to go knock out some morning abs and cardio. It's just something just to get me going up. And it's just my time. And I do usually 2 workouts a day. But the better you are physically is the more clear and concise it's going to make you mentally. Right. That's how it changes all of your endorphins and your serotonin levels and just everything. It just helps reset you and makes you happier. You have more energy. When you have more energy and you're happier, you're going to make better decisions. Because before, when I was not working out, I was just in a rut and doing this and that. I've lost plenty of business because it made me more grumpy and then I was snapping at customers. You got to stay active. You got to actively work on your physique and your mentality, your mindset. If you're not exercising those 2 things and keeping your head clear and happy and understanding what you need, if you're in a bad mental health space, you should know yourself well enough what you need to do in, let's give it a long time, 30 minutes to get yourself out of that in a better mood. Yeah. And if you don't know how to do that, it's time for you to stop doing all this other crap and figuring out what you need to do with that. Because every moment that you're spent unhappy and upset is just part of your life that you're wasting.
Yeah.
You're wasting that. You're wasting that on yourself, and you're never going to get that back. Do you think us as business owners and stuff like that, we don't get hateful comments and grumpy, aggravated people all day long? It's just like water on a duck's back. It's just, we deal with it, we shrug it off, and we just keep floating away and swimming along as a path of our day. We don't let it just weigh us down, and drown us. Because most of us, we drown ourselves in our own thoughts because we don't know how to lift our own selves up and out of it and just keep trucking along because we think everybody just lives this awesome, phenomenal, perfect life, and we're the only ones that have problems. We all do.
Oh my goodness, this has been so much fun, and you're absolutely amazing. And I cannot thank you enough, first and foremost, for your service to our country, and also for being here and doing this with us today.
Great. Awesome Sunday. Gets me fired and motivated for Monday.
I know, right? Let's go. Let's do this. Well, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to put this out.
Can't wait.